AM 1460, the new WXBR. You are listening to the Metro South Morning Show, PM in the AM. Peter Czymbor here with you this morning. March 20th of this year is International Day of Happiness, and here to discuss with us is one of the happiest people I know. She is the editor-in-chief of Live Happy magazine, Miss Karol Nickell. Karol, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Peter. It's very, very happy news to be here.
How do you become the editor of Live Happy magazine? I assume you have to have some writing credentials and things of that nature, but I assume that if you're a miserable schmuck, you can't get the gig.
Well, Peter, I have to tell you the truth. I feel very lucky to be involved with this magazine because Live Happy is really about the new science around happiness, about positive psychology, and how many things that we think we know about ourselves are really true. Like we're wired for happiness. Our bodies are actually built to respond to positive emotions, positive feelings. And if you're happy, it has a resounding effect on other parts of your life, like how successful you are, how fit you are, how good your relationships are. These things are amazing to me, and so I feel very lucky to be part of the magazine that's bringing it all in one package.
On the flip side, your career's not going well, relationships aren't going well, you're going to be miserable. How do you balance the two? How do you make yourself happy, Karol? How do you live happy?
Well, one of the things that we realize is that we're not talking about people walking around giddy. Life is tough. Life is going to be challenging. There's nobody lucky enough to have 100%, things go their way. So happiness is really about sustainability, so that when you do hit a tough spot, and we're going to, that you can make it through it, that you can count on things that you have inside of you, like resilience, like gratitude, like joy. Things that are really inside of you will remain with you even through the tough times.
I always say that if kindness is a currency, spend freely and compliment people and things of that nature. A good way to look at life?
Excellent way to look at life, Peter. Can I quote you?
Yes, you
that's
can
a
quote me.
wonderful way to look at life.
I am sometimes a miserable schmuck, too, and I make fun of people on the radio, but for the most part, I try to remain happy.
Well, I think it really takes a lot of effort, quite frankly. Happiness does not come without effort. One of the things we do in the magazine is we have a calendar of happiness. So every month, we have a theme for every month, and we give readers and viewers some ideas on what they might do during that month to increase their sense of happiness. The month of March is actually dedicated to sharing. So one of the ideas in the magazine is simply to donate. If you donate and share your extra things with people, you're going to gather things in return. Another idea is to share your knowledge. We have a wonderful quote from the Dalai Lama. He says, "Share your knowledge. It is a way to achieve immortality." These are really big ideas, but they're everyday ideas. Any one of us can pick them up and infuse our life with them.
Also, during the month of March, I mentioned at the top of the interview, March 20th is the International Day of Happiness. What is the International Day of Happiness? How did this come about, or is this just a brilliant marketing scheme for your magazine?
Actually, it's a UN-commissioned holiday. So it really is about international adoption of happiness as a point of priority. Happiness can help with problems that the world is challenged with, such as economics, health, well-being. Happiness is truly a tool in all of our solutions for these major, major problems. International Day of Happiness is indeed March 20th, which is also the first day of spring. I think that's brilliant because there's a new beginning with spring, and happiness allows you to have a new beginning as well.
I'm fascinated by the idea of a magazine being all about happiness. So let's take a scenario which I will make up right now. Let's talk about the offices of Live Happy magazine. Can we do that, Karol?
Oh, absolutely, Peter.
All right, a woman who works in your office is driving to work, hits a dog, in the process of hitting the dog, tries to avoid the dog, spills coffee on herself, crying, is a mess, gets out of her car, slips on ice, ruins her new clothes, and gets a tailbone bruise. She gets into your office. She's not having a happy day. What does her coworkers and the people in the offices of Live Happy magazine do to lift her up to try to get happiness back?
We have a board in our office. It's a whiteboard, and it's indeed part of our Acts of Happiness initiative. And it says, "I share happiness by." And we've, through the last about 35 days now, just allowed people to write the ends of their stories there on the board. One of them that it seems to move a lot of people is that I share happiness by helping someone else carry their load. I suppose we would try to pick this person up, make sure that the rest of her day did not go so badly, and made sure that she felt like that she had someone to reach out to. Obviously, people are going to have bad days. Thank goodness she didn't hit the dog. There's always a silver lining. Clothes can be cleaned. Bruises will heal. Nothing really badly happened. What would be sad is if the rest of us couldn't know that about her day, and we would hope that she or he would share that story so that we could gather around them.
That's a great answer to a bizarre scenario, which I just concocted for the sake of that question. I want to let you know I'm impressed.
I think it has a lot to do with that, these things are not rocket science. This is not something that people don't know how to do. We do know how to be happy. We do know how to share happiness. We just forget to do it.
Once again, we're chatting with Karol Nickell, the editor-in-chief of Live Happy magazine. Tell us about some of the content people can find in Live Happy magazine. You mentioned that your magazine deals with the science behind happiness as opposed to just, hey, smile, dandelions, flowers, rainbows, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Almost 50% of our articles are based on new research. For example, we have a wonderful story that's called Family Strong. It's basically a research study that came out of Minnesota, and it shows that families do have strengths, not just individuals within the families, but families as the collective group have strengths that they can count on. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to be rich or that you have to have a traditional family or that you have to have a large family. It just means that your family needs to acknowledge the fact that maybe even that you talk with each other or that you cook together or that you reach out and help people in your community together. These are all strengths you can count on. This is basically new research. It is very, very exciting research, and it allows people to find strengths in a family situation regardless of the makeup of their family. Another example of that kind of science being brought into happiness is that we have an article that's called Fit for Happiness. This is a kind of yin and yang. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds. I'll be happy when I can run a marathon. In fact, now research is showing that truly if you're happy, you're more likely to be fit. So there are new studies showing that there is a direct link between physical activity and happiness. And in fact, that exercise is a way to unleash happiness. So it really gets you going, really makes you start thinking about how you really truly are hardwired for happiness.
Let's talk to our audience real quick. Our audience is up early in the morning. They're getting ready for work. Maybe they're getting the kids ready for school. They're trying to get them all breakfast. Things are kind of hectic. Things are kind of chaotic. Everyone's trying to get to their destination where they have to begin their professional or academic day in time, but sometimes they have to rush in order to get there. What should they do right now just to relax and be happy and make sure they remain happy throughout the duration of this day?
Well, one of the things that I think is really true is that, we do have certain people in our collective lives that we can really listen to. And in our articles, we have a wonderful story that is a lot about Maya Angelou. And she's one of our very celebrated voices of our time, and she has so much to offer. And she talks about being a teacher. She believes that the truth is all of us are teachers, whether we realize it or not. I guess if you're sitting in your car and thinking about what you might have taught your children as they were getting ready for school, or taught your coworker as she comes in from her hectic drive-in, I think the idea that we're always teaching people and sharing what we've learned, that's really an amazing spot to be. And we all are in that spot. We can teach by our actions. We can teach by our words, and sometimes we can just teach by being there, by simply being present. So I think I would take that from our articles myself. Maya is truly a hero, and she's a sage, and I think she has a lot to say about happiness.
She also knows why the caged bird sings. We're chatting with Karol Nickell of Live Happy magazine here on AM 1460, the new WXBR. I'm curious as to the audience that you're going after with Live Happy magazine, because happiness is something that's universal. Everyone aspires to have consistently. Is there a counter magazine like Misery magazine or anything that you know of, or no?
That is so funny. Gosh, I think there are plenty of magazines which are not perhaps with that title, but certainly with the content.
That's got nice alliteration to it. Misery magazine. I guess it would work if you just want to be down in the dumps.
Well, I think there are a lot of magazines that just, kind of sensationalize the misery that some people go through. We are not obviously a magazine about smiley faces. We're a magazine about giving yourself, an alternative to just being a negative outlook. And it's a different approach to life. It is an approach that takes some, contemplation. As far as our readership and our viewership, I think it's really, quite frankly, anybody who wants to live happy. As you said, it's universal. So if it's time for you to think about that in your life, this is a magazine and a website and a brand that could really apply to things that you want to do. We are very much about being very inclusive. We try to show people from all walks of life and all different parts of life in the magazine. We also cover celebrities. Alicia Silverstone shares her philosophy about health and diet and being a green mama in this issue. But we also have Jim Carrey, who has just put out a fantastic children's book. And it's based on the fact that he thinks he really has this goal in mind. He says, that's what I'm all about. It's my job. It's been my job my whole life. My ministry is to free people from concern. Here's a guy who makes us laugh, but he really sees a bigger picture, that humor is a way to have happiness. Humor is a way to heal. It's a wonderful message, and I think it's one a lot of people will enjoy.
I hope we're making happy people this morning, Karol.
I hope so too, Peter.
Karol,
what a wonderful job you're doing.
Thank you so much. Karol, before I let you go, occupations. Which people with which professions seem to be the happiness in your studies as the editor-in-chief of Live Happy magazine?
The people that are doing things that they really love, they're the happy ones at work. So follow your dreams, follow your passions. Happiness will become part of your workplace too. You really are. It doesn't matter what occupation. If it makes you happy and you're happy doing it, then you're going to be happier in the rest of your life as well.
That's the editor-in-chief of Live Happy magazine, Karol Nickell, joining us. It's Live Happy magazine. International Day of Happiness is March 20th. The website is it livehappymagazine.com that folks can get more information?
Actually, livehappy.com.
All right, livehappy.com. Karol, before I let you go, I'm going to ask that you play producer for us for a moment. Do you mind?
Oh, I would love to.
What song do we play out to as we head into our local news break? Do we play out to Pharrell's Happy or the Partridge Family's Come On and Get Happy?
Oh my gosh. I think Come On, Get Happy. In the morning, yeah. I like the upbeat of that.
Okay. Come On, Get Happy by the Partridge Family. We'll play out to that. Karol, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Peter. Take care.
You're listening to AM 1460, the new WXBR. We'll step aside where Mike Paver brings us a local news update. Stick with us.